Sowore, can throw some of these comments around. Even his own party, we are supposed to be a democracy. Have you been able to audit the AAC? Who is the chairman? So one person just running a show and then criminalizing every other person. If INEC calls for chairmanship, it is the presidential candidate. You are presidential candidate, you are treasurer, you are auditor, you are everything, but you know how to call every other person names.
Sowore is more than capable of defending himself.
I would like to. He's my leader.
And if I were you, I would tread carefully with Sowore.
I say we are capable. We are from the same.
Oh, okay, yes, from the same pedigree.
Yes. What is the benefit of protesting for 30 years? Moving around and we are shouting and we cannot get into office. Imagine a Sowore probably in the National Assembly. Imagine everybody is a thief, only you are the saint. At what point did you know that everybody was a thief? When it comes to leadership, Peter Obi has set a model. He has set a standard. Unfortunately, we have people, charlatans all over the place, running around recklessly, telling you that all is fair in politics. Since Tinubu removed subsidy, whose lives have changed? The governors. If you ask them, they say we have increased pocket money to governors. The percentage you are collecting, where did you put it into? How can you remove subsidy, go into borrowing spree? In the evening, Tinubu can borrow from Fair Money to Clear Money Point. He can collect from OPE to Clear Kuda. And Akpabio, the rubber stamp Senate president, they are seated there to give it under 5 minutes. Even the former Plateau State governor stated that Obi had more than 1.something million votes.
Jonah Jang, the
former governor Jonah Jang. And then we come to places like, of course, he will win the FCT. He won the FCT.
FCT is here as FCT.
Yes.
Minister Wike is here as FCT, and the president is here too.
Who is Wike?
FCT minister.
Does he vote in FCT? If not for rascality, hooliganism that we have made a part of our public process, why should we be talking about one FCT minister? Is he the INEC chairman? Even the Adams Oshomole, who used to sweat, he's doing NLC and all of that. At the end of the day, you saw him inside private jet and this thing. They were doing, all the electronic transmission and all that. So Tinubu is a person who descended onto earth, jumped away from primary, jumped away from secondary, and then ascended into university. And then somehow graduated. And even that same university, Chicago State University, since Nigerians started being critical and say we need the release of these documents, and so, do you know that on Twitter, Chicago State University, this one, don't tell anybody, they have locked their handle. It is private now because of one man. Nobody, how can you have a fake agency budget pass through an appropriations committee and nobody dictates it? You cannot allow your parliament to be a den of unarmed robbers, cavalier in their own impunity. And that is why Akpabio can tell you that we received a letter inviting us from Remi Tinubu, the wife of the president, to come and have dinner. It is like an invitation from a mother to her children. Do you know that Akpabio is Remi Tinubu's son?
This is Naija Unfiltered on Symfoni TV. My name is Olawale Oluade, and my guest today is Mr. Peter Akah, aka Peter for Nigeria. He is the NDC House of Reps candidate for the Ogoja Yala Federal Constituency. He's also a good governance advocate. My brother, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome to the show. Let's get on with our business today. Okay, before we get into the conversation, if you haven't yet subscribed, please tap the notification bell, subscribe, leave a comment below also to let us know what next you'd want to see on this, your preferred platform. We don't want to take any of you for granted, and thank you for following us. Now, my brother Peter, let's get into our conversation. As political campaigns have officially begun, 5 candidates who wants to be Nigeria's next president in next year's election stood before the Nigerian Bar Association at their conference in Port Harcourt a couple of days ago, and they more or less tore into each other. They went at each other's throats in a manner of speaking, and also the ruling party. Even though I don't think there was anybody that represented.
There was no representation.
Yeah, there was no representation for the ruling party. They went at each other's records and all of those. Did you watch the session? Did you watch it?
I did.
Okay, great. Give us your assessment of their overall performance, these 5 candidates, just in summary.
A summary of what happened at the NBA conference. It went a good step to show our priorities and what leaders take as important in a country. It was a good opportunity for everybody to make their case. Nigeria is in dire strait. Nigeria is facing unprecedented challenges. As a country, almost every indices of human development are pointing negatively. It does not matter the political spectrum you stand on, whether you are standing upon a mandate which you shall collapse, or you are standing, or you are an obedient, or you are in NDC or in ADC. We can all agree that the value of human life today has depreciated, the quality of life and all of that. And the fundamental challenge is not that these problems exist. The question is, what are the managers of the situation doing about it? What are their priorities? And then when you have a forum where leaders who want to get the trust of the people to lead them for another 4 years are called together, and consistently you have a current leader who hides and takes, pride in staying away from communicating with the people, that is the first and fundamental problem. That you have somebody who is occupying the highest seat of government and somehow believes and runs it like a monarchy, where you send surrogates to run around and make reckless statements but cannot engage with the people. And then those who came together and spoke there, from listening, you can see that Nigeria has a management problem. And when you listen to all of the candidates make their case, I listened to, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, and you can see that there is a clear path in this candidate on not just highlighting the problems, but sticking to solving those problems. Not taking jabs at anybody. You could see the other persons. It was almost, a shouting match between some of the other candidates. But one person stood out, Peter Obi. Why did that happen? Because he does not go to discuss other people. People go there to discuss Peter Obi. Peter Obi goes to those events to discuss Nigeria's problems and provide solutions. That was the take home, that we had an opportunity to engage with the people. But Tinubu could not go there to talk about what he wants to do. But of course, when he wants to visit the judiciary, he can afford to make them sing on their mandate, they shall stand.
To be fair, it wasn't only Peter Obi that spoke. Like I said, Omoyele Sowore spoke. Mr. Adebayo of the SDP was there. And I didn't see much of attacking people from him. Mr. Donald Duke of the People's Redemption Party,
but he said
he also was there. And gentleman, just like Mr. Peter Obi, comported himself very well.
Issues.
That was your former governor, if I'm correct.
The former governor of my state.
Fantastic.
Fantastic governor, by the way.
Fantastic. And I'm glad you reckon that. If you reckon that he was a fantastic governor.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So 5 of them that were there, and the APM deputy or vice presidential
the former
nominee,
DSS director
Lawal Daura, he came late too, but at least he made a showing, So these 5 or 6 persons, they were there, and they did express themselves, their objectives, what they would do on subsidy, their policy, and all of those. It was towards the end that they began to, go at each other, especially from the AAC candidate.
It was from the beginning.
And many people will not be surprised, because that is
a comrade
essential. Exactly. That is who Sowore is. But let me go back to, so you talked about Mr. Peter Obi. What did you hear about the others? What did you hear from them? What's your opinion? How did you perceive them? Their presentation, their programs especially, or what they want to do differently?
Aside the fact that the APC, that is the ruling party, that is currently destroying Nigeria as a country, our economy, the lives of human beings were not there, every other person there is an opposition. And they all agree that what we have on ground today is bad. So it is not so much on dwelling on because everybody agrees that this is bad. What we are debating there is, what is the approach to fixing it? And that is why I continue to mention to you that amongst what I listened to, Barrister Adebayo was clear. I think on the issue of subsidy, some of them even agreed with each other, some disagreed, but everybody we must fix the corruption in that system. Peter Obi clearly stated that I'm not going to support going back to pay subsidy, because the problem with the subsidy regime, of course, is the criminality there. So whether you are paying it, it is criminality. If you have taken it out, what are you doing with the proceeds that you took out? So amongst all of it, but the question will be interrogating the antecedents of each of the persons who spoke, their competence, their characters, their capacities, their track record of using public office for public good. And that is why you heard former Governor Mechi say, amongst the people seated here, it is myself and Peter Obi who have served in public office, except Sowore, and it ran into another issue, and Adebayo, Barrister Adebayo. So what are the track records? And when you put this side by side, you would know that today in Nigeria, What are Nigerians yearning for? The young people of this country are sick and tired of being sick and tired. They want a new method of doing things. They want to ensure that in the calibration, in the priorities of government, we have leadership that has not just competence, but empathy. And that is why even when everybody spoke, Peter Obi continues to stand out. Why? Because his person, his character, his competence, his capacities, and the ability to communicate directly to the issues stood out.
Okay. Specifics. Let's get into specifics now.
Yeah.
Mr. Omoyele Sowore, I think he was the first who took a shot at your principal.
Everybody.
Mr. Peter Obi. I mean, he went at him, and accused both Peter Obi and, in fact, not just Rotimi Amechi, who was deputizing for former VP Atiku Abubakar. I mean, he carpeted all of them, including Donald Duke, that they failed. Their governance.
Which was a lie, and he was called out immediately.
Well, it has his own right to say whatever. He said they failed. But
no, it was a lie because he was saying Amechi said so.
Okay.
Which Amechi immediately debunked and said that wasn't true.
Now, Sowore speaking specifically concerning Mr. Peter Obi, he said that his governance in Anambra was a failure. That if Peter Obi could not handle 13-month strike, by doctors and lecturers that happened when he was governor in Anambra State, how is he going to deal with the larger issues of, Nigerian society? Because you would have ASU strike at some point. You're going to have Nigerian resident doctors strike at some point. You're going to have all sort of threats from even NLC, maybe Nupeng and all of that. That if Peter Obi could not handle, 13 months, that's over a year of strike. And when I listened to Mr. Peter Obi's response, I'm not sure I was really... What was your response to this?
I mean, he stated it clearly, and I hope that you had listened to it because, there is a level to which propaganda or mischief can fly. If you followed leadership and how Peter Obi became governor of the state and the issues that happened, did you follow the governorship of, Chief Mbadinoju from 1999 to Ngige? And then when Peter Obi came into power, he came in through the court and all of that. The state was almost completely grounded, dysfunctionality everywhere. And Peter Obi clearly stated, and he asked, he said, you will make the statement and say doctors were on strike. The only thing that doctors do not tell you is, why were we on strike? So when, as a leader, you come into a system and you see that there is no accredited medical, training institution, the hospitals are comatose and everything is going wrong. And then you begin to channel funds and resources into revitalizing it. And you see people within that same health sector who will rather, like it is going on today in Nigeria, you see general hospitals have almost become a mortuary. Go to Federal Medical Center, even here in Abuja, people will pay for cotton, will pay for syringe, pay for things that should be available to the people. And then the governor sees that persons who are within this sector are sabotaging the efforts of government to provide this service to the people. You will see people who will be working in government institutions, medical professionals who own their own private sectors. Before you know, they say he's here in the morning for some few hours, and then even medical people will refer you to their own private practices to go there. And then the governor says, look, enough. We must ensure that we rejig and revitalize this entire, overhaul it. What happened? The same Peter Obi who you said they had a strike under him built a teaching hospital from start to finish within how many years? At the end of his government, he became the darling of the medical profession. He became the best friend of every person who was criticizing it. So the question now is, what risk are we ready to take in order for us to get a future benefit? If governors or if doctors and medical persons were on strike in a state for 13 months, sir, and somehow there was no news of a health pandemic, mass deaths and killings, should we not pause and ask ourselves the question, what exactly could you have been doing? What happened that for 13 months, it is like nobody really missed you? You came back, you are back. Who were the people filling that gap? Who was working? That you could live for 13 months and there is no record anywhere where they say there was mass deaths. And by the time you came back, ambulances, go and ask the people of Anambra, even those who had been complaining from the beginning, when they saw the impact of what Peter Obi did with the health sector. Today, Anambra has how many accredited health institutions? Look at their primary health institutions as at when Obi left that place. So he took a bold step and said, we are going to anger some of you, but we must ensure. It was under Obi that you started seeing where ambulances had toll numbers. Almost everywhere had a toll number. You can call them and under how many minutes the ambulance is there. It was because of the actions that this man took. So when you see these lies being peddled, and then you compare that to what you have today with Tinubu, where in a budget of 2025, the entire Ministry of Health capital expenditure that was released is less than 40 million. But you have more renewed hope buses, more campaign buses, more than you have Federal Ministry of Health emergency ambulances. So you see that when you push all of this mischief, Peter Obi is a person who will tell you that public office must be used for public good. If you want to see the priorities of a government, look at their budget, education, health. So when you talk about failure in education, what exactly will Sowore be saying? A person who met education at number 27 and took it to number 1 was given an award for staying to the Millennium Development Goals, which were the measures of the Human Index of Development. And you want to compare it. Sowore, can throw some of these comments around. Do not forget that Sowore and his, media agency played key role in bringing the APC in 2015. Even his own party, we are supposed to be a democracy. Have you been able to audit the AAC? Who is the chairman? So one person just running a show and then criminalizing every other person. If INEC calls for chairmanship, it is the presidential candidate. You are presidential candidate, you are treasurer, you are auditor, you are everything, but you know how to call every other person names.
Sowore is more than capable of defending himself.
I would like to. He's my leader.
And if I were you, I would tread carefully with Sowore.
I say we are capable. We are from the same.
Oh, okay,
yes,
from the same
yes.
pedigree. Have you?
Yes.
Okay. One other thing that Sowore said was that he saw the way the participants were hailing Mr. Peter Obi during that event, and he said, that he spoke to the crowd and said, you may like Peter Obi, but the fact remains that he failed as governor of Anambra State. He said, you may like him, but the fact remains Peter Obi failed in terms of the overall record of his performance that he said Peter Obi failed. How do you respond to that?
It is a good thing for you to acknowledge that they like him. That alone is okay. For you to know that they like him. Because the thing is, one thing, this Nigerian thing, they will tell you, if he didn't, he didn't. If it is easy to buy likeness, every politician, Peter Obi left, somebody has been there for 8 years. The person did not support Peter Obi, was bad-mouthing Peter Obi. The immediate past governor, Chief Willie Obiano, after he had an EFCC case, he was arrested and then he was granted bail. He left to the US. Till today, he has not come back. If it is easy to get the love of the people, let Tinubu be outside, going everywhere. They say we have made bold reforms, we have done renewed hopelessness or whatever that it is and all of that. Why is it that you are not endeared to the people? The best people who are able to give a referendum on Peter Obi's administration are the people of Anambra State. So if you want to know how Peter Obi led his people and the place he has in their hearts, go to Onitsha, go to Wike, go to Head Bridge, go to Akah, when you see a person who has left office for more than 12 years and continues to be, you have seen videos where a current governor of the state is speaking and Peter Obi walks in. It is not, and this is the same man who will tell you we know they give shishi, meaning we don't give bribe. I will not spend stolen money from government or steal money and come and distribute for you. I will be financially prudent. I will manage your resources. And at the end of it, you still get that kind of love. There is something you are doing right. So if you are saying that you failed, let the Anambra people give a referendum on Peter Obi's leadership. And then let Sowore also be able to get a referendum from whatever that he has been able to lead. I respect him. I love him. If I'm sure by the time he sees this, he will call me. But when it comes to politics, he has taken a lot of steps that I believe, if taken properly, if it is rethinked, can help us better. What is the benefit of protesting for 30 years? Moving around and we are shouting and we cannot get into office. Imagine a Sowore probably in the National Assembly. Imagine everybody is a thief, only you are the saint. At what point did you know that everybody was a thief? When you people supported and helped to bring the calamity we call the APC today. So when did you realize that everybody should not be worked with? So when you become an opposition of the opposition, it becomes a problem. Because one of the greatest tragedies is that when you see people who criticize government, you spend few minutes to criticize government, and then you spend more hours to criticize people who are trying to change that bad government, you become a problem. And people will begin to look at you neither here nor there. Everybody is doing their best. Nigeria today, the Pope will not come and be president. Nigerian president will be a Nigerian. We must find common ground. We must agree. What exactly is this person bringing to the table? You cannot call... Peter Obi will tell you, I'm not a saint, but I'm not a thief. You cannot have... He said, anybody that has one thing against me, bring it out. I will stop campaigning till today. Chief Soludo, who had been running his mouth in Anambra State, told Peter Obi, he wrote in an op-ed before the 2023 election, he said that I have the records and this is part one. By the time he tested the waters and saw the feedback, he supported Atiku in 2023. When Nigerians challenged him, till today he has not brought the second part. Did Peter Obi, is he taking pension? What? Is to save money for the state? Things that people will do in other countries and will get awarded is what you want to use as a tool to blackmail or to drag him. Any debt you sling at Peter Obi would not stick, and I think Sowore should sit that out.
I interviewed, and I love the fact that you referenced saving money.
Yes.
That is one of Mr. Peter Obi's core achievements. Yes. Is fiscal discipline, fiscal management, and all of those. I sat with where you're seated now. Yeah. One of Mr. Peter Obi's staunch allies, Professor Nwaokobia Jr., sat here a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him, because he did a podcast earlier, same on this platform, where he had said he does not believe Peter Obi's so-called financial prudence is the best policy, that saving money is not a good strategy of lifting people out of poverty, and all of that. In fact, Professor Chris states very clearly that under Peter Obi, poverty level was higher than under, even Ngige, and under Obi and under Soludo, that poverty level was 56%. The others were a bit lower and all of those. So what's your perspective on this, that saving money? Because one of Peter Obi's greatest achievement that, in fact, endears him to the generality of Nigerians was when he articulated at a public event at the Covenant in Lagos years ago about how he saved money. His austere lifestyle, prudence, and all of those. That's what endeared him to majority of Nigerians, that at least this man will not waste our money. But Professor Chris, who is an ally of Peter Obi, is now saying that is not a best leadership, best measure of governance or leadership. Explain, speak to us.
I feel terrible about our country. Nigeria has been so used to bad leadership that when we see good ones, we fail to appreciate it. When you talk about Peter Obi saving money, that is not the hallmark of his administration. Peter Obi saved resources, money for the state, after fulfilling every campaign promises in terms of improving the lives of the people of Anambra State. I am telling you that the measure of the impact of government at the time was the Millennium Development Goals. Peter Obi set up a team that cascaded that into the Anambra State Integrated Policy for us to achieve. What exactly are the indices? Healthcare, education, infrastructure in the public, and all of that. When it comes to health and education, the records are there to speak for themselves. You can't call Peter Obi a failure. If a state was ranking, do you know that under Mbadinoju, who was there, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the vice president, will admit this to you. There was so much of an educational crisis that the federal government had to come to intervene in Anambra State, the state where Peter Obi took over from. When Peter Obi took over and then went into his reforms in the educational sector, that was when you began to hear of how judiciously the money for SUBEB and all of the educational interventions were now judiciously being put into use. So saving money was on a side of performance for Peter Obi. And then when you come to talk about savings, Nigeria today is in trouble because we have, when you give leadership, when you elect leaders, what you can expect is governance and development. When you allow criminals to hijack a system, what you have is a carnival of thieves. Norway as a country today, when it comes to single standing, has the highest sovereign wealth on its own. How did Norway get to the point it did? At a point, there was a law in Norway that every proceed from our natural resources must be saved. Nigeria today, and that was why you saw the book where the current DG of the World Trade Center, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, told you people from her book that when governors of the state were saying, distribute excess crude account, split the money and share it, Peter Obi was one of the only persons who said we should save. Because to him, we can source out resources and funds to do the job now, but we should not forget the generation that is coming. So when you begin to condemn Peter Obi's savings, you rather prefer Tinubu and Buhari, who together have raised our debt to over almost 200 trillion with nothing to show for it. Criminality everywhere. People do not even know how came about the savings and how it started, some of it in Anambra State. Part of what Peter Obi saved was that same money that was distributed across states for the state governors from the excess crude account. Some states got billions of dollars. Anambra, because of the allocation formula at that time, got a paltry about $60,000, $60 million. What did Peter Obi say? This money will not be spent. It will be for the Anambra people. Let us put it in a savings. Today, that money is valued at over $100 and something billion. It is money for Anambra State. Is it on Peter Obi's name? If it is a bad thing, if other governors who came said, we will take a part of this and do work and we will still save, will it not make it easier for those who come after you? Those who came after squandered the money. The one that was there, they stole them, did nothing for the state, and then what are we talking? Go and ask other governors who received excess crude account. People like Rivers State who received in billions, oil producing states, what did they do with it? What is the state of health infrastructure? What is the state of education? Who is criticizing Peter Obi's savings? Which government of the world can run? Look at a country like Japan. They may not have, they say cash or whatever that you may think that they should have, but the investment that the state puts, that the future of our children, generations who come should not inherit this kind of debt. We borrow money to buy presidential jets to fly failure around the country. How much did Egypt use to revitalize their power sector? They borrowed about 45 billion. Tinubu has been borrowing in trillions, but Tinubu ended up building a giant solar farm for himself, disconnected himself from national grid, then put all of us from band A to Z. So tomorrow they say that national grid will collapse. It has become an epileptic patient. Every day they are rushing into teaching hospital. Yet that same person say, if I don't give you power, vote me out. When it comes to leadership, Peter Obi has set a model. He has set a standard. Unfortunately, we have people, charlatans all over the place, running around recklessly, telling you that all is fair in politics. All is fair is not because that they have anything to offer. It's because we can engage in corruption and criminality.
You said a lot. I think what Professor Nwaokobia was actually referencing when he said saving money is not the best approach to, it's not the best economic model. What he was referencing was that money could have been put to investment purposes, practical investment purposes that will lift the people out of poverty. For instance, maybe build more markets, allocate the markets to market people, sellers, and all that. Number two, maybe create what is called technology hubs, industrial clusters, and all of those. Or, creation of job, employment opportunity, basically. Just hold on. Because this is what Chris said, and I'm quoting him now. He said, Peter Obi's, you are Peter Akah, so
yes, Peter for Peter.
I was almost going to. He said, Peter Obi's slogan of consumption, he wants to change Nigeria from consumption to production. It's mere sloganeering. That there's no heart to it. It's just lip service. Because over and over I was asking him, he said, Peter Obi's manifesto is empty. In fact, I was actually even working almost performing the role of a Peter Obi, exactly. On that, he said no, that there's nothing in the manifesto, that it's empty, that it lacks depth. So I'm asking you, Peter, if Professor Nwaokobia, and I keep reminding you, a staunch ally of Peter Obi, if he says the slogan consumption to production is sloganeering, it is empty, how do you respond to that?
I think that he's entitled to his opinion. When you say that the slogan, consumption to production, is lip service and all of that, what is Tinubu's manifesto, sir? Do you have an idea?
Renewed Hope agenda.
What is in Renewed Hope?
They have all sorts of things there.
All sorts of things that come together to form Renewed Hope. And somehow, a government that wants to, give Renewed Hope moved from about 80 million plus multidimensional people to over 140 million today. Under that Renewed Hope, we came from number 6 global terrorism index to become the 4th most terrorized country in the world. Under that kind of Renewed Hope, we moved into having a national assembly to a Tinubu daycare. People who are singing on their mandate, they shall collapse. Under that Renewed Hope, do you know that in the 2025 budget, money for procurement of aircraft, materials, and military equipment, more than 20 billion that was budgeted for the Air Force, less than 7% was, remitted or released to the entire Nigerian Air Force. But guess what? Tinubu budgeted over 20 billion to service and maintain air fleet of the president, over 99% released. That is, Nigeria spends more money servicing the air fleet of one man than the entire country that is the 4th most terrorized in the world. And we are talking about Peter Obi's consumption to production. Whether you like it or not, Nigeria is on its knees today and bleeding because we are not a productive nation. So anybody who is trying to, give a different connotation, consumption to production is consumption to production. You cannot have an economy that is dependent on imports. Today, if you want to talk about what are the achievements of the government, they will tell you that we have increased our foreign reserve. What does that give you opportunity to import? We are talking about interest rate. What about local production? What happened exactly in Nigeria today that we had more than how many refineries? Till today, Nigeria spends billions to service refineries that are producing nothing. Criminals everywhere. From NMPC's own report between 2017 and 2023, NMPC is looking for over 200 trillion, one agency. The total debt of Nigeria is not up to 2, it's at about 200 trillion. NMPC is looking for 210 trillion, one. So when you continue to talk about consumption to production, Obi does not just tell you that, he goes to break it down to give you the intricacies, the bit by bit. Peter Obi is one of the only persons who have been able to clearly articulate what a plan for northern Nigeria can be. Today, until Nigeria solves the northern Nigeria problem, we'll continue to have issues. Look at the literacy gap in the south and in the north. Whatever gains you make in the south will be destroyed with what you have. There is no way as a country you can develop beyond your literacy margin. How can you have 38%? And then you have governors in those places. They will say people do not have money, people are uneducated. Guess what government is spending money to do? Mass wedding. That is the country that we live in. And Peter Obi is telling you, he said, this Sambisa forest, I am giving you the specifics of the square meter or whatever. It can be turned into a cultivation hub. The entire Taraba state can feed Nigeria. Benue state, Niger state, more than 70-something thousand square kilometers. More than certain European countries. We are here, Ukraine, that is fighting war, is giving us grains. Nigeria, that is not at war, cannot feed itself. And you are still condemning a statement that says we should move into consumption, from consumption to production. When you say Peter Obi could not save money and all, governance is in phases and stages. As at when Peter Obi was governor, what were the immediate needs and priorities? How do you invest in long-term prosperity? Education and health. Can you query his achievements on that sector? Can you query his... Did you travel through Onitsha Head Bridge before Peter Obi's coming? That entire lanes you see like that, it is the handwork of Peter Obi, including internal community roads. So if a man was able to achieve all of that, improve your education, your health, your public infrastructure, bring sanity to your institutions in terms of governance, cut the cost of governance and take out wastages and still save money to you, I do not expect that you should be sitting down to discuss. Why have the people who came after him, William Bianel was there for 8 years, why has he not built a hub? Why has he not continued from where he stopped? Is government not a continuum? Obi says he's a trader, I have done my part. Professor, you are there now. Do professor own.
Okay, let me clarify something. Earlier you said part of the money Mr. Peter Obi saved about 50 or 60 million US dollars.
Yeah.
But today it could have been about 100 billion. I'm sure you meant 100 million dollars. Not is dollars, not. Anyway, straight one that I want a straight answer from you. Mr. Peter Obi is perhaps one of the largest importers in Nigeria. True or false?
A very successful businessman.
No. Don't use the nebulous term businessman. Yeah. He's one of the largest importers. He made his billions through importation of finished products.
What I know is that Peter Obi has a history of family business. Peter Obi's family, his father, his brothers are in business.
And himself.
Peter Obi was in business as far as when he was in the school. Peter Obi owned a supermarket as a student in University of Nigeria and Nsukka. His interest in businesses spans across both goods and services, including banking, financing, and all of that. So when I say a successful businessman, in every right, Peter Obi is one of the only Nigerian politicians who can boldly tell you his wealth with enterprise before coming into public office. Have you been able to have a situation where you sit down and ask Tinubu, Chief baba-ahmed Tinubu, what he was doing before politics? You will see the first lady, the wife of the president, go around telling you that I donated 2 billion. I donated 1 billion. From where? What exactly is the pension scheme of Chief baba-ahmed Tinubu in Lagos State? And what exactly is Peter Obi collecting since he left Anambra State as governor? When you talk about somebody doing business, you should give credit to a person who will tell you that I am not here to take public money because I have built wealth and enterprise. If I want also for people to thrive, why? Because Peter Obi wants to move you from consumption to production, is why he invested in critical area of human development, in education, in health, in infrastructure, in support for agro businesses. Go and look at Peter Obi's track record in supporting farmers, in Anambra State. No, hold on, sir. Look at Obi's track record in supporting small, medium-scale enterprises that people can grow. Go and meet people in Anambra State and Anambra State business people and listen to them and let them give you their testimonies about the support that Peter Obi gave them in growing businesses in the state. And that is the state he has governed. So when you continue to say that, what has Peter Obi done? Has he been president of Nigeria? The person who is there, who is supposed to be giving you opportunity, is destroying everything, is hiding somewhere and refusing to come out to talk to people. You are not holding them accountable. You are holding a private individual who is giving you his record in Anambra State to look at. He will tell you, go and verify. So all of this talk, it is just, this campaign, you go back and forth. The person that there is a referendum on for 2027 is Bola-Ahmed Tinubu, not Peter Obi.
Okay, Peter. Peter.
Yes.
for a second, you don't have to.
Yes, differentiate. No, it's okay.
Get used to the fact that you are not Peter Obi, you are Peter Akah.
I'm Peter for Peter.
When I said Peter, my mind was like, I'm not. Okay, so Peter, let me be very upfront with you.
Yes, sir.
I admire Mr. Peter Obi enormously. I have very high regards for him, for a number of reasons. Personally to me, number one, which is that I like his lifestyle. His lifestyle resonates with me. I like people who are very understated. And I detest passionately ostentation. I detest obscene display of materiality, So I admire Peter Obi on all of those. But none of these presidential candidates, no governorship candidate who sits here will get a pass. I don't care who you are. You're not going to get a pass here. We're going to hold your feet to the fire. We're going to ask you very hard and troubling, unsettling questions. Because you want to rule, you want to govern us. You want us to give you our mandate, And so this is not about Bola Tinubu. Trust me, Peter, whenever I have the opportunity to see Bola-Ahmed Tinubu, even you will feel sorry for him.
That is the problem.
Or whether Atiku or whoever. But I go back to Peter. I'm saying to you, the way Peter Obi made his money, I don't think many Nigerians can doubt the genuineness, the cleanness of his wealth. I don't think many Nigerians, except you want to play mischief. That is not the question. The question is, you say you want to move Nigeria from consumption, which is basically import-dependent economy. Fair, move us to production. Because the biggest problem of Nigerian economy, we're not productive. Peter Obi says this over and over and over. It's become a mantra. But the question is, you, the number one advocate or proponent of production, what have you produced? Production is the heavy lifting of economic activity.
When you say that Peter Obi should come and he's talking about moving you from consumption to production,
yes,
and you are accusing him of being a business person, has Peter Obi been president of the country? What is the job of a government or a leader? Create an enabling environment for people to thrive. Let me tell you, sir, when you accuse Peter Obi of not directly bringing into production, one of the first things that you are going to ask, go and take example from Innoson vehicles and ask today, call the MD of Innoson to tell you how it got to the point where they are today. What did Peter Obi do? The first person who told them that all the cars, both traditional rulers, everybody, they say that we should buy SUV. Say no, we will use made in Nigeria. They say the traditional rulers say that the cars may not be too good, though it will cause accident. Peter Obi say, you know what he said? Don't worry. Those who will die, the remaining will use the vehicles, but we will use made in Nigeria. Support local industries. Must they be owned by Peter Obi? Must he be the person who is in charge of the farm? Create an enabling environment. Let people thrive. Let agro businesses grow. And that is the prosperity that is shared when you close the inequality gap. Is Peter Obi supposed to close his personal businesses and throw away because he's contesting to be president? The person who is seated in the villa now, and the challenge is that we continue to query Peter Obi, a person who has put himself out. He's the most scrutinized candidate. Somebody is talking to him. The person you should be scrutinizing and holding accountable more is Chief Bola-Ahmed Tinubu. The person who told you that the way to get it is to snatch it, grab it, and run with it. You snatch it, grab it, run to where? And hide inside the bunker. No, we are going to be able to analyze that because the challenge is that same person who is destroying the lives of Nigerians is insisting on going for another 4 years.
Exactly.
You have lost steam. There is no gas in your engine. There is no stamina. There is no capacity. There is no competence. There is no clarity of purpose or direction. Yet you insist on mortgaging the lives of over 200 million people. because of your personal interest and ambition. And you expect us to sit down and be talking about Peter Obi, who has been in the public scrutiny for more than how many years? Come on, sir. Let us be fair to ourselves.
Peter, you will not set the agenda for us in the media. We will set the agenda for you politicians.
No.
You will not set the agenda for us. We, in the media, part of our duty, constitutionally guaranteed responsibility is to set the agenda for you guys. And after we've done that, hold your feet to the fire.
How else?
And let me give context. One of the, in this Port Harcourt presentation that they did, this interview.
NBA.
This NBA session. One of the candidates, SDP candidates, Adewale Adebayo, told Peter Obi, he told the rest that I am the only farmer here. I have Arewa farms, if I'm correct. I am a farmer. And my produce are exports. So I earn money. Peter Obi has one of the best ideas that I've listened to about agriculture. It sounds to me like somebody who actually knows what he wants to do in that sector, which is a huge, potential boost for the economy in terms of employment and GDP, and even forex earning. But the question is, again, why did you not do it when you were governor of Anambra State?
Peter Obi was a governor. You mentioned that he brought a brewery that the state bought shares in. And up till today, that investment is worth millions of dollars for the state. I have given you example of the support that Peter Obi gave to both farmers, industrialists, small businesses, persons, entrepreneurs, and all of them in the state. Are you waiting for Peter Obi to come and tell you that this is Peter Obi Farms before you know that he invested in production? What is the job of government? Create policies. The person is the governor of the U.S. state of California, the owner of the business in Silicon Valley. His job there is to ensure that the policies in that state continue to make it favorable for people like that to remain there. And then another state governor will be doing something like that in Texas so that maybe a company that is coming up, startups and the rest, will also be attracted to that place. Is it the same way that Obi handled Anambra? Is that what a person like Ododo is doing? Is that what Yaya Bello is doing in Kogi State? Because when we continue to put this spotlight, is that what Tinubu did in Lagos State, where he finished and they say Tinubu built Lagos? He reached the time of Nigeria, building materials finished. Tinubu came to Lagos when Lagos had already been a British colony. It was our former capital. Almost every major public infrastructure in Lagos was built before Tinubu came. The Third Mainland Bridge under the military. Is it the Igomo National Arts Center? They also the bridge also the terminal that is there was built by Ambode. The BRT was brought by Fashola. The housing scheme and the educational system in Lagos was set up by the late Chief Lateef Jakonde. What did Tinubu do in Lagos? He collected tax. What company was doing it? They used Alpha Beta. When he finished, what did he do? He put himself on a life pension that includes overseas medical treatment for specified number of family members, and we are talking about Peter Obi. What exactly? Do you know the IGR of Lagos State? More than 30 states combined. So when you want to know exactly, if you want to know, have you ever wondered why people who work very closely to Bola-Ahmed Tinubu are not always front and center, the more refined ones? Why is, if you want to know the truth about a person like Tinubu, you are going to question a person like Fashola, Ambode, Sanwo-Olu, Professor Yemi Oshibajo. Why are they not front and center of their campaign? Story day ground. If those ones do not want to talk, you know the people who will talk. You know Mrs. Abimbola Fashola, Mrs. Bolanle Ambode, Dr. Mrs. Claudina Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, and Pastor Mrs. Dolako Oshibajo, their wives. Those ones will tell you. Because they know that this one, go and ask the people who worked as deputy governor under Chief Bola-Ahmed Tinubu. Can you accuse Peter Obi of converting state institutions, a place that was his college of nursing, and to a personal private, even if as a governor you tidy the paperwork, is it right to do that? So when we continue to talk about this Peter Obi has showed you a blueprint that, look, if Peter Obi becomes president and converts the northern field that has become a killing and battlefield today into production, it's not he that is going to own the farms. There are people in Niger State today who want to farm. They need security. They need government to support them. That is what government should do, not be in the business of going to till heap or excavate. If they choose to do so, fine. If not, help others to do it. Simple.
I'll keep reminding you, my brother Peter, why Peter Obi will keep being under intense scrutiny.
More than the person who is in
of
power.
The media.
Yeah.
This is election campaign season. The man, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let me borrow my sister Aisha's description.
Chief Bola.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his job is up.
He will go.
His job is up for grabs. And we do not want, we in the media, especially this platform, we don't want to make the mistake that happened in 2022-2023, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, candidate Tinubu then, did not present himself for public scrutiny and still found himself to be elected. So anybody who wants to take that job there will be a searchlight that will be beamed on everything you're saying. So that when you eventually get there, we'll probably not have any skeletons. You will not say, oh, we didn't know. That is where this interrogation of Peter Obi's utterances, claims, assumptions are being discussed. Let's go back to this issue. That's MBA. The issue of subsidy removal became a very topical, and it's been topical, especially when, in fact, it was made more topical when the ADC presidential candidate, former VP,
Yes,
Atiku Abubakar, threw the cat among the pigeons by saying he's going to return subsidy. You know,
yes.
President Tinubu removed it and threw the economy into a tailspin. Now, Atiku says, we have seen this experiment for 3 years. Peter Obi, Atiku, and Bola, they said they will do the same thing. So Atiku is saying, no, when I get there next year, you should give me your votes. I will restore subsidy. Now there's so much bedlam everywhere. People are complaining, Atiku is a corrupt man, he wants to do this so that I will steal it. Oh, people are saying, but your principal, Peter Obi says, he will not return subsidy.
And that is why, even when I agree with you that there should be scrutiny on the candidates, it must be equal. And it must even be more on the person who is currently there.
No, he's not here with me.
No, that is what I'm saying. The media must find a way to impress on Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that they hold him accountable.
We will.
It is the duty of the media. So you cannot give Tinubu a pass in 2023.
He will not
and
get...
for 3 years, he has been going haywire, does not talk. He runs like a monarch. Contracts are being given without open bidding. We can give $15 trillion contract, Naira contract, to a friend of the president who, by the way, is a convicted money launderer. We can be having so-called stakeholder meeting between insecurity and security officials in Katsina, and nobody is holding them accountable. So when scrutiny becomes excessive on one person, even after clear explanations, it begins to look like there is an undertone. And that is what Nigerians and even persons who support Peter Obi will say, this man has been out there, he has been speaking. When we talk about this so-called issue of fuel subsidy, look, the difference between Peter Obi and Bola Tinubu is like light and darkness. There is no grounds for comparison. Peter Obi is not in any court trying to defend anybody from releasing his drug trafficking or whatever case in the United States. He did not forfeit money to anybody, anywhere. He has not been involved in that kind of scandal. The entire Tinubu government is a scandal. And that is why today you will continue to deal with one scandal after the other, from fake agency to fake DG to whatever it is, and all of the shenanigans that is going on. When it comes to the issue of subsidy, Peter Obi has been very clear. The problem with the subsidy regime in Nigeria is criminality and corruption. If you take out corruption and criminality from fuel subsidy, Nigeria could afford to pay subsidy. What exactly is subsidy? Subsidy is paid in different countries in different forms. What we call social security abroad, Medicare and all of that, they are subsidies.
Food stamps.
Food stamps and all of that. Thank you, sir. The problem with the Nigerian own is, what exactly were we subsidizing? If a person who calls himself Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who claimed to have worked with Mobil or whatever that knows the oil sector, and you say you want to remove subsidy, what is the important thing to do, sir? There must be a transparency and accountability. Did Tinubu tell you that we had an entire audit of that system? This is how much had been wasted on fuel subsidy. From the day we stopped, this is how much we are able to save. This is where we are investing it into critical areas of development in the country, so that the country can say, we paid a price in removing subsidy, but we are enjoying better power, stable power. We paid a price in removing subsidy, but we are enjoying better health care. We are enjoying better road infrastructure. Today, people are spending 3 nights from Asaba Agbo going to Lagos State in a country that say they save 16 trillion from oil subsidy. The difference between Tinubu and Obi in removal and handling of oil subsidy is criminality. If you allow this current subsidy regime to continue and you say you want to go back to paying it without accountability and transparency, what Tinubu is doing is decentralization of corruption. You want to take out subsidy from the poor and subsidize the rich. Since Tinubu removed subsidy, whose lives have changed? The governors. If you ask them, they say we have increased pocket money to governors. This percentage you are collecting, where did you put it into? How can you remove subsidy, go into borrowing spree? In the evening, Tinubu can borrow from Fair Money to Clear Money Point. He can collect from OP to Clear Kuda. And Akpabio, the rubber stamp Senate president, they are seated there to give it under 5 minutes. The only thing they cannot do is to give you electronic transmission of result. But kidnappers in the forest are doing real-time transmission. So how dare anybody say you want to compensate Obi? And what exactly are the premise? Obi is telling you clearly, every kobo that they say they had spent on subsidy will be investigated. What we will begin to save, you will know. Where it will be deployed to, you will know. So that you can measure it. There should be parameters. In 3 years, we should see visible changes. It did not take Tinubu 3 years to buy a jumbo jet for himself. It did not take him how many years for them to be budgeting dollars to fund the office of the First Lady and fly her around the world. Why should it take forever for us to see the dividends of removing subsidy? The question I want to ask you and Nigerians today, as a Nigerian, what has been the benefit of Bola-Ahmed Tinubu removing fuel subsidy to you? What has been that benefit? You took money and then lace your own pocket. So we, the poor, we are the subsidy for the rich. We are subsidizing Tinubu's life to fly around. Tinubu's government is like a Black Friday market shopping. Buy one, get 3 free. The father is giving you incompetence in leadership, in capacitation. The son is running around doing township boys and township girls movement and whatever. The wife is everywhere, giving 2 billion here and there, planting ugu. And then the daughter is installing baba-ahmed, yaloja. Rascality and recklessness everywhere. It is this insanity Obi is coming to say, enough.
I don't want to press you more on this subsidy because you are not Peter Obi, you are Peter Akah.
Yes.
I want Peter Obi to sit down and give clarity because, you asked a very important question, which is since President Tinubu, in a very cavalier manner,
Flippant.
in a very flippant
Subsidy
manner,
regime is gone.
Subsidy is gone. Threw our lives into, I don't want to use because words are powerful. Anyway, we know where we are today.
Yeah.
That, there's hardship. Yeah. Across the length and the breadth of this country. So that issue of subsidy is one of the most important issues. Any president who is coming must present a clear, measurable, specific, and in the timeline of how you are going to handle this critical subject. But like I said, I won't press you. You're not Peter Obi.
Sorry, let me just even say something briefly because of this issue of subsidy. The question will even again is, at what point, after that reckless statement of subsidy regime is gone, at what point exactly did Nigeria even remove subsidy? Remember that for a time, the IMF gave a report that even the first 1 year of the Tinubu administration, Nigeria was paying subsidy. According to NNPC's own audit, NNPC has been spending almost 11 trillion on what they call energy security.
Absolutely.
Sir,
Absolutely.
What is energy security?
Absolutely.
What is the cost of fuel subsidy?
So you can now understand why we're saying whoever is coming...
Yahoo government.
You can now understand why we're saying whoever is coming, who wants to take this job of President Tinubu must
the real people in the city should be running after. They are not running
must
after.
Give clarity on this subject. You can now understand why it's very important. So, but let's move on, my brother Peter. Yes, Mr. Obi advocated we're talking about insecurity, how to deal with insecurity. He advocated a human security model of community policing at the NBA conference, But here's the issue. In a highly polarized Nigeria where you have different tribes in all the communities of Nigeria, when you're talking about human policing and community police, local policing, are you sure people of the community are not going to begin to target, people from other community, other tribes or ethnicities who are living there? Are we not invariably, what Peter Obi is proposing, it may mean well, but eventually if we're not careful, are we not going to see the emergence of warlords, ethnic warlords, community warlords, who say, no, this is our own area, like the Omoyele Agberos in Lagos. And I'm glad you're familiar with what is going on in Lagos. Are we not playing with fire with this?
When people, the problem sometimes we may have in the media or some sections of the country is when a portion of Peter Obi's statement is taken, isolated, and then, interpreted in a certain way to suit certain narrative. Obi gave a comprehensive analogy or plan for security, and he has said it at different forums. One, he made clearly, he said our law enforcement institutions and our military must become responsive and responsible. He has always cited, he said the Nigerian military were the ones who go for UN peacekeeping. They go to Liberia, they go here, they are able to restore order. How come suddenly the Nigerian military is unable to handle internal issues? It is because we have not been able to solve the political wing of terrorism. Once you remove the terrorists in government houses, and you have a sincere and honest leader who is ready to fight from the core drivers of insecurity, and that was what Obi said in that event. He said we must pull people out of poverty. We must make it difficult for this recruitment. We have more than 18 million out of school children. More than 10 million of that number comes from the north. The leaders are not interested in taking those children out of the street and giving them a meaningful life. That is another potential millions of persons possibly to be recruited into insecurity. The drivers of this network must be handled. We must take charge of the issue of poverty and the quality of life of human beings. We disincentivize insecurity. What is the Tinubu government doing on the other side? Subsidizing terrorism. When you have a government that can come out and pay ransom and then come out to tell you that the children were found, like lost but found property. The governor of Kebbi State, Nasir Idris, is an APC governor. He told you clearly, till date, Chief Tinubu has not responded. Before gunmen came to pick children from government girls' secondary school in that state, we had intelligence. We instructed law enforcement, they were deployed to the school. They went there, took pictures and all of that. Minutes before that attack, they withdrew from that place. People went there, packed children, and somehow also killed the vice principal. The Kebbi State governor said, Tinubu, who ordered security men out of that school? Till date, Tinubu has not answered. Do we have a government that is sincere in fighting insecurity? The governor for your state is telling you, the governor, who is supposed to be chief security officer, he said, I do not believe the account of that kidnapping. We want an independent audit. The entire National Assembly, don't try it. Don't try it. The presidency is running. Why are you afraid? What are you hiding? Do we not all want to end insecurity? Shebi, the vice president, Shetima, said, I will handle insecurity. Tinubu will handle economy. They could see who they handle security now, see where economy be. So when we talk about this thing, Peter Obi has been clear. One person has to be in charge, either government or the criminals. Clearly today, the criminals are in charge. We must take out government that subsidizes insecurity or terrorism and get the ones that is ready to build human life and then go after criminals.
Okay. Many are calling for coalition, even amongst the candidates. Mr. Donald Duke, your former governor, a very dear brother and friend of mine, is in fact one of the leading proponents
of your interview
of coalition. That it does not see a clear pathway for any of them if they go into this race splintered or fractured along the individual party lines, that they must come together. And reasonable voices of society, different segments of society are likewise. In fact, there's a group called the G100.
Yes, G100.
Salihu, Lukman, and all of them. They are also saying the same thing. You guys should come together, and all of that. That's the only way you can present a formidable, and the word is formidable, opposition to confront this behemoth, this looming, power that is the APC and the incumbent President Bola Tinubu. And don't also forget that in 2014, it's a template that worked. The APC was not APC. There was no APC. Yeah. There were different parties that came together to form the APC. So, my brother Peter, what do you think about the idea of coalition? Would you advise your Prince, Mr. Peter Obi, to sit together? And if the consensus throws up maybe a Sowore or whoever, if he throws Mr. Peter Obi up, fantastic. Yeah. But if they come together and he throws up another person, would you advise him to?
Coalition, yes and no. Is Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu seated in Aso Rock today because he
Why are you talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
No, I'm answering a question. Okay. Is Chief Tinubu seated?
Do you see Bola Ahmed with your dreams? Do you see where you sleep?
Bola Tinubu's misgovernance, cluelessness, and ineptitude have direct implications to my life. We have spent, according to APC, we spent 16 years of bad leadership under PDP. By next year, APC will be 12 years. 26 years of a human being's life spent under mediocre and dysfunctional leadership. Every Nigerian should be angry. Every Nigerian should be holding Tinubu. Tinubu should not be sleeping in that villa. Because people in Plateau, in Bokos, in Mangu, in Agatu, in Ishibori, in my community are not sleeping because of hunger, insecurity exacerbated by Tinubu. So there is no way Tinubu should be sleeping. If you cannot get the job done, you have sounded too good, go. So in everything we talk about, we must hold him responsible. Why? Because apart from destroying the current one, you are still preparing to destroy in the future. You want to go for another 4 years. Is it until you begin to pick corpses on the ground, on the roadside, people dying of hunger, depression, and all manner of hopelessness? So that is why I am asking, is Tinubu in that place because he won a free, fair, credible election? Is that why he's there? When we talk about coalition, in
INEC
all
said he
fairness, yes, INEC said he won.
And
that
the
is
Supreme Court validated that decision.
the professor of glitches, Mahmoud Yakubu. He said that he announced Tinubu at the middle of the night when human beings were sleeping. And you know that is it now. When you steal the village drum, the place is to play it. People could not even celebrate, even the people who claim that they won. And that is why today you will ask yourself, what job did Yakubu do that he's seated in Qatar as an ambassador? It is reward for what? 2027. This conversation we are having today is because Nigerians have not made up their minds to channel their anger into defending their votes holistically by 2027. If there are free and fair elections in this country before 1 o'clock, before election day, Tinubu knows that he's out of that place. There is nowhere the votes will come from. Tinubu has reduced human life to the barest minimum of devaluing the dignity of a human person. And that is why he could have the nerves. A commander-in-chief, head of city boy, went to Plateau State where people were killed. A woman's only child was killed. Head of city boy, rich city, stay for airport, could not go to the city. They rather brought the mother who was mourning her only child to come and meet head of city boy in the airport. The person said that because there is no light, I cannot spend 10 minutes there and I'm gone. That is what we call leadership in this country. We must address it. So when it comes to issue of coalition, Peter Obi has been clear. I support coalition, but the important question is, what are we coaliting for? For good governance, to re-strategize, to put this country, take it from this part where it is and focus on the part of development, I'm in support. That is why I went to the ADC, because I believe in it. But what we will not do is to change thief for another thief. It is a coalition that came together. When you reference 2014, it should be a lesson both positively and negatively. It is a coalition that brought the calamity we call the Buhari government that has continued because Tinubu said he's Buhari, Buhari is him. So Tinubu and Buhari are each other's legacies. They complement each other in failure and have a bond with incapacitation. If you give them the next 40 years, according to Daniel Bwala, they will achieve nothing. And that was why even Buhari, after spending 8 years, died in a private hospital overseas. Tinubu, his own doctors are in France. So Obi is saying the coalition must be ready to dismantle this structure of criminality. We cannot repeat the same mistake. Whether there are, and as much as we support the coalition for people to come together, this must be the premise of this coalition. In any case, if there are free and fair elections today, nobody should be deceived. If one man, one vote, we protect and defend our vote, Peter Obi won in 2023, he will win again. So, simple answer, do we support coalition? Yes. What is the basis of that coalition? In any case that the coalition does not work, Peter Obi will win his election. We as Nigerians who have the direct implication must wake up and protect our vote. Once that is done, these people will stop this conversation.
So let me ask you very pointedly,
yes,
Peter.
Sir.
So you actually think if all these guys, all these presidential candidates, they go into this election as it is, not coming together, you think they have a chance against
a lot of them are having conversations, or some of them are having conversations as they're working together. What I want to appeal is that our politicians should know that it gets to a point where you should make sacrifices for the country. And that is why it is my special appeal to a person like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar is a candidate of the ADC. Atiku Abubakar should understand that you can win, take power, and lose the people. You do not need to be president for your name to be engraved in the hearts of Nigerians. You have an opportunity to be a statesman. Look at Buhari, a former military head of state, former PTF commissioner and all of that, 8 years governor, died, was buried, everybody move ahead. What was the liturgy or whatever that you heard throughout his burial? Lamentations, complaints. People could not even mourn. I remember when President Yaradua died. I am from Ogoja in Cross River State too. I know the place where I was in Ogoja when the news broke. People in my community were crying that Yaradua died. Is Yaradua from the north? It is not because Yaradua was...
Is Yaradua from the south?
Is he from the south, rather? People were not doing that because they believed he's a perfect person, but they believed that he had a sincerity of purpose to do something different. Nigeria needs genuine leaders. If Peter Obi today, in every calculation...
What was your advice for VP Atiku? I didn't quite get it. What was your advice?
That is what I'm saying. From all indications today, the most popular politician in Nigeria is Peter Gregory Obi. One of the strongest forces from the north is Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. We have a combination of these two persons. They have a pedigree, both of them as governors, invested in critical areas. Their experiences, though different, can still be analyzed. In education, you always see testimonies of Kwankwaso. I met people that I sent to school here doing this and all of that. We have an opportunity with a ticket that will not only unite this country, stop this bleeding and begin the healing. You can come together and support it. And allow and ensure that you see Nigeria work in your lifetime. We will be grateful to you. A person like me, I voted for Atiku Abubakar in 2019. Obi was his running mate. So we believed also that you had the capacity to change Nigeria. But these are the times that we have. NSAS has come and passed. Buhari has come and passed. Do we need another elder statesman to come and take power? And then the youths are not reflected in that representation. That is the simple thing. So any coalition that is talking today, that is not talking about giving Peter Obi tickets, are the youths listening to you? Are you really feeling the pulse of the people? How many of them have that capacity to move around, engage with people? Tinubu is hiding somewhere. So at what point do we liberate ourselves? That is why we are saying coalition. We have seen a good candidate. We have seen a man who has the competence, the character, the capacity, the empathy to be leader. Coalition coalesce behind him.
Okay. So the coalition must be behind Peter Obi. Great. So you are absolutely convinced Mr. Peter Obi can win next year, 2027?
Absolutely.
What's his electoral map? What's his path? The electoral path to victory, in your own opinion, your own assessment. Give us an assessment.
The electoral
the six geopolitical zones.
The electoral map is the Nigerian people. And part of what
that's nebulous, Peter.
No, I'm coming down. No, hold on, sir. You asked the question.
Let me calm down.
Calm down.
Let me calm down.
Is the Nigerian people spread across the 6 geopolitical zones? Okay. So I'm coming to the answer that you want to hear now. And it has become worse with the calamity called the Tinubu regime, because even those who were able to, afford some means of livelihood, we are now being empowered with 50,000 to sell kuli and agbado and all of those kind of things. And then the same woman who is giving you that money is also giving APC women leader new buses and cars. So that is where the C finish comes in. In 2027, the map of 2023, let's even go back to it. Obi would win the South and the Southeast. Obi would win every free and fair election in Lagos. In fact, you know that Tinubu he lives in Ikoyi in Bodilon. You know Ikoyi is under Etiosa. In 2023, Tinubu voted in Alausa and Ikeja. Obi won Ikeja and Etiosa. In football, they will say home and away. No hiding place. The only thing you can use is when you begin to weaponize thuggery, violence, rascality, and that is why you begin to hear talk like Iyashi Nedu, Babashi Nedu. A person was stabbed in the eye in Lagos for saying that they say it's a Labour Party person. People were physically beaten out of polling units in Lagos State in 2023. You know the report. If you are so popular, if Tinubu knows that you are Jagaban, you have been de facto governor of Lagos for more than 20 years. Everybody who is there, you handpick them. The one you want to remove, you remove. Why do you need violence to win election? Is popularity not supposed to be your influence on the people? So if Tinubu is struggling in the state, let Tinubu go to Lagos. Let Obi go to Anambra. They governed for 8 years. Let everybody interrogate those records. So when you talk about that, then you move to the North Central. You saw.
Sorry, so he has Southeast, South. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You will, of course.
Okay. Southwest. What of Southwest?
Southwest. Peter Obi will win Lagos. Peter Obi did well in places like Oyo State. You saw the result that came out from polling units in Bodija, in University of Ibadan, and all of that. I monitored the elections. I observed the elections around that part. So I can tell you for a fact that Peter Obi did not only win votes in the metropolis, in the city center. He won in the suburbs, places like Idiayanre, Ogbomosho, places inside Shaki, Isheyin, and all of those places. If they leave all their magic, they want to do this thing and all of that, the calisthenics they are doing in Osun and Ekiti and all of that. Look at Osun State, an outright rejection of the APC propaganda. pack all governors, put money and everything. At the end, a Garulous minister will come out to tell you if the president wanted Osun at all cost, he will send me there. When you, Wike, wanted land at all costs, you could not face the officer that was standing there. But if you need Osun at all costs, they will send you there because you don't see us finish. So that is it. And then we come to the North Central.
No, you didn't decide on Southwest. Who would win Southwest?
It will be splitted. It will be shared. It will be shared, of course. If Atiku won Osun State, it was shared into it. What I'm telling you is even the 2023 map. Of course, Tinubu won Ekiti, won Ondo, Peter won Oyo State, Peter Obi won Lagos, Atiku took Osun, and those here and there. And then we come to the south. We have talked about south and south is the North Central. And then do not forget the shenanigans of Wike in Rivers State, which is what the Rivers people must decide, whether the power of the people and the criminals in power, who is greater. Because they will have to decide whether it is a former governor who chooses leaders for them, or the millions of the strong and intelligent Rivers people have the capacity to choose their leaders than throw themselves into the confusion they have suffered in the last 3 years. Then we go to the North Central. Benue State is a state that will vote overwhelmingly for Peter Obi. Nasarawa, Plateau. Even the former Plateau State governor stated that Obi had more than 1-point-something million votes.
Jonah Jang, the former governor, Jonah Jang. And then we come to places like, of course, he will win the FCT. He won the FCT. FCT is here as FCT.
Yes.
Minister Wike is here as FCT, and the president is here too.
Who is Wike?
FCT minister.
Does he vote in FCT? If not for rascality, hooliganism that we have made a part of our public process, why should we be talking about one FCT minister? Is he the INEC chairman? Is he a returning officer? Why is Wike in conversation of, does he vote here? He votes in Obiakpo, where he's from, and where he's registered. So when we continue to empower this kind of characters, that is why we have destroyed our institutions and handed them over to charlatans.
Finish anyway before I will now
Then
ask.
we talk about, of course, in the north, you know how well Peter Obi did in states like Adamawa, in southern Borno, in places, parts of Gombe State. There are certain northern states that he cannot win outrightly, but he will do a strong showing. Now with the combination of the Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso factor, Oga now, let us look at it. Where will the Tinubu votes come from? Tinubu will lose Kano, would lose Lagos, lose Abuja, and then somehow magically, why? Because out of over 176,000 polling units till today, INEC cannot account for up to 30,000 or 36,000 polling unit results in 2023. That is the question. Every day you continue to hear me shout, you continue to hear me scream about INEC, because that one is now INEC. So that is the pathway for Peter Obi.
So out of the 6 zones now, he would win how many?
Out of the 6 zones. Okay. We
South,
went on the
South,
state.
Southeast.
Yeah.
He wins South and
Yes.
Southeast.
A majority of the states in the North Central. Yes, he will do very well in the Northwest. They will win Kano himself and Kwankwaso.
So you believe he would win next
He
year's
will do
election?
very well in Kaduna.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me ask you, but let me just pick River State. Yes. Are you aware that FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, a strong backer of President Tinubu, is from River State, and that the vice presidential candidate of the ADC, African Democratic Congress, is a former governor, former two-term minister, former two-term Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, is VP to Atiku Abubakar. So you think Peter Obi can win River State and he'll win Bayelsa? The governor of Bayelsa has pledged allegiance to President Tinubu. In Delta State, former governor Arthur Ifeanyi Okowa has port to APC.
Iboro is there.
Oborevori, the incumbent governor, Oborevori is there. James Ibori, their godfather, is with Tinubu. In fact, they are colleagues from 1999. That's so I've told Rivers, Bayelsa, what's it called? Delta State. If you go to Akwa Ibom, Godswill Akpabio, Tinubu's number one between him and Wike, I don't know who's number one.
The Robert Stamp
Tinubu's
Senate president.
Supporter. Go to Cross River. Donald Duke is a presidential candidate from Cross River. And the governor, Basio, too, they are supporting Tinubu. I could go on and on. Come to Kaduna, here. Ubasani supporting Tinubu. I could go on and on. Peter, are you sincere that Peter Obi has a pathway the way you have stated it?
How many governors were in Labour Party when Peter Obi won the votes INEC said he won in 2023? How many governors in Labour Party did he have? It is this coming together you are talking about, that they have packed everybody into one. In Yoruba, there is something they call Ori Buruku, when you pack yourself inside that kind of mandate, it is what will later actually collapse everybody. So when you go to one state like Delta and you are seeing Ibori there, Okowa there, the current governor, the question is, why is everybody running there? Okowa was vice presidential candidate to another party in 2023. Oh. Few weeks after some time, you heard that there was one case of 1.something trillion EFCC case. Suddenly, he's standing on mandate. Did you see hear about that EFCC case again, sir? His sins are forgiven. Adams Oshomole. Even the Adams Oshomole who used to sweat, he's doing NLC and all of that, at the end of the day, you saw him inside private jet and this thing. They were doing, all the electronic transmission and all that. So when you are talking about people, Godswill Akpabio in Akwa Ibom and all of that, it is because in Nigeria, we have outsourced the power of the people to criminals in power. One man, one vote is Ibori's vote, Okowa's vote, Oborewore's vote. Is that supposed to be what will determine that the person will win there? Shebi it is Delta State people who will vote. In Rivers State, before you say this one was former this one was former that, Wike was the sitting governor of Rivers State with all the shenanigans. Didn't you see the BBC report? Who won the state? Peter Obi won Rivers State.
No, that's not what INEC said.
That is what the BBC report, an investigation into the Rivers State election. It is clear, it is everywhere. They won, Peter Obi won it. In 20, and look at it, and because when we continue to talk of all these agencies, INEC and all of that, we cannot allow agencies of government to become so criminalized. Rivers State elections 2015, Buhari versus Jonathan. Jonathan won Rivers State with about 1.4 million votes. Fast forward to 2019, Atiku versus Buhari. Atiku won it with over 450,000 votes. In 2023, Atiku, Obi, Tinubu, and Kwankwaso and the others, the person who won that thing, according to INEC, did not even get up to 200,000 votes. Sir, are the voters in Rivers shrinking with time or the increase? According to INEC register, Rivers has more than 2.8 to 3 million registered voters who collected PVCs. What happened? Because we allowed hooligans to steal a mandate of the people.
Let me ask you, as we're rounding up, FCT Minister, when the APC released their presidential campaign council, the names,
yes,
and you see all the heavyweights and all of that, reporters asked Mr. Wike that why is his name is a curious omission. He said if he wanted to be campaign DG, he would have, that he doesn't want, in fact, he does not even want to be there. He said, he gave us reasons that he wants to make sure he delivers FCT and Rivers. He was very clear. And to my mind, a keen student of politics, especially African brand of scorched earth, crude, barbaric politics, that was really, that says a lot. That spoke volumes about Wike's understanding, because he said something, said all these campaigns, so-called campaign DGs, Bukola Saraki, that they lost their state in Kwara. Rotimi Amechi, twice, campaign DG for Buhari, lost Rivers. He went on and on like that. Are you not afraid, once again, that Wike, from that statement, has put everybody on their toes that this next election is not going to be a repeat of 2023?
I ask again, why do we keep discussing Wike? Is Wike the INEC commissioner or resident commissioner in Abuja?
Sorry to interrupt you. ADC, when Peter Obi was in ADC, and they did Abuja municipal
election,
FCT local council election. They did it around April, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. This was how you guys from ADC then were supporting your candidates, my good friend, brother Mo, Dr. Paul Moses, right? But what happened? We saw how ADC did not even win one single council.
There are different issues and there are different incidents. And it is still the kind of criminality we talk about. Wike,
that election was adjudged free now.
The same Wike you are talking about came out to tell you on that is, he's the national leader of PDP and he's working in an APC cabinet. The people running in his state are the APC people he's supporting. He came out to tell them in FCT, say that your job is to vote and go. Leave the rest for me. The question is, what is the rest that Nigerians should leave for Wike? It is that rest that we Nigerians will handle in 2027. So when you are talking about all of these, campaign this and all of that, if you look at the APC list of campaign, it is a document, it is an atrocious document. It is an immoral document. It is like Tinubu
Document
requested.
or list. I'm sure you won't say list.
It is a list. It is an immoral list. An atrocious. It is a list that hits at the heart of our fabric as a people. What a country. It is like Tinubu requested for the who is who in the corruption World Cup from EFCC. Give me your best 11. Let me field them. Those are the people who are manning campaign. And then you wonder why corruption is here, where it is today. You wonder why the country is where it is today.
Those are your own words.
And you are talking about this campaign. Nigerians will wake up in 2027 or Gami.
Let's round up. Let's round up. Let's round up.
Yes,
President Tinubu, when INEC uploaded, made public his personal details information, he didn't put primary and secondary school, and but we have a university spot there. Your principal has condemned this very strongly. You know, in fact, Atiku, the ADC candidate, has gone a step further, taking it to court. They are going to court and all of that. Is this not a distraction? Why are we talking about this? It's not just a distraction. The constitution says you don't have to even go to the primary, secondary school. If INEC official can say you can read or write, this is enough. Is it not a distraction, Peter?
It is not a distraction. This is at the core of who we are as a people. If the constitution says you don't even need to qualify, why put anything at all? Just come out and say you didn't go. What document did Tinubu submit as primary school in 1999 when he was contesting for governor? Why is that primary school no longer tenable to INEC and the Nigerian people in 2023? It is the criminality we are talking about, sir. And that is why today you have a Tinubu Daycare National Assembly who are standing upon the mandate which they shall collapse, who will have the nerves to remove qualification or forgery from our Electoral Act. It is no longer an offense because all is fair in politics. That is what you are seeing. So Tinubu is a person who descended onto earth, jumped away from primary, jumped away from secondary, and then ascended into university, and then somehow graduated. And even that same university, Chicago State University, since Nigerians started being critical and say we need the release of these documents, and so, do you know that on Twitter, Chicago State University, this one, don't tell anybody, they have locked their handle. It is private now because of one man, the person who is there. And tomorrow, Tinubu is telling you that I'm going to look for foreign investors. Foreign investors are looking for your primary school certificate. You are going there to go and look for foreign investor. You have not told us your secondary school. You are looking for foreign investor.
Okay. Let's round up with your own particular aspiration. And I must commend you.
Yes, sir.
Because one of the challenges I have with most of us who want a good country is that instead of us starting at a lower level, maybe council chairman, state house of assembly or house of reps, we want to be president, You can't stop anybody from aspiring, but yes. I love that you want to be House of Reps, and I commend you for that.
Thank you, sir.
In 1 or 2 minutes, what are you bringing? If you win, what are you bringing? What are your policy ideas you want to, accomplish in the House of Reps?
Representation. What is exactly the duty of the National Assembly? That is the hallmark of a democracy.
There are 3 of them.
3: legislation, oversight, and representation. We must have a system. If the National Assembly does the right thing, rogues will not be running around. How can you have a fake agency budget pass through an appropriations committee and nobody dictates it? You cannot allow your parliament to be a den of unarmed robbers, cavalier in their own impunity, sit down and arrogate wealth and powers to themselves that they should not have. Instead of you to act as coordinates with other arms of government, you become subordinates. And that is why, Akpabio can tell you that we received a letter inviting us from Remi Tinubu, the wife of the president, to come and have dinner. It is like an invitation from a mother to her children. Do you know that Akpabio is Remi Tinubu's son? So that is where we are. We must take back that National Assembly. It must become the people's parliament. We cannot have people vote on something as important as a state of emergency using voice vote. The yeas, the nays. No, let people vote individually. There must be a pattern, a structured way to run a country. Let Nigerian people be represented in that parliament. And that is what we must ensure. Not just for me, as I am beginning, and by God's grace, I will win. I will win, my principal will win. And a new generation of doing things, a new way of leadership in this country will be bettered because we have had enough.
I don't want to put you on the spot with that. I will still put you on the spot. So if you get there and they give you
they give me bulletproof car.
30 million naira per month, will you reject it? Because many people rode on Obi's back
wave
and his wave to
yeah.
get into the place last 2028 under Labour Party.
Yes, sir. They are worse than they
like
was.
Like you said, don't let anybody hear.
Yes, so
they've all decamped. They've all left him. Peter Obi is alone now.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure you will not do the same thing?
I have a trust from God that I will never betray that faith. For me to be where I am today, it is the grace of God. I'm not better than children in Benue, in Plateau, who have been killed. I did not enter this year, 2026, planning I will run an election. Few months ago, I was at the gate of National Assembly screaming, all I want is free and fair elections and a better country, because I genuinely love Nigeria. I believe there is a reason God created me here, and that is why you hear me. I am called Peter for Nigeria. If I go into office and I misbehave, let Nigerians hold me accountable. The problem with Nigeria is an outright lack of accountability. There are no consequences. Do not say if Peter for Nigeria goes there, what if you go and misbehave? That is why you are there. That is why you are supposed to hold me accountable. If I am campaigning for Peter Obi today, he will win election. If Peter Obi when he becomes president, I will hold Peter Obi accountable the way I'm holding Bola Tinubu accountable. My loyalty is to my country, not to a person. There is no sacred cow. Do the right thing and let the country be okay. So I'm not telling anybody to say that I am a saint. I have the highest level of integrity. I believe I have an opportunity to save my country. I can contribute my quota to strengthen the system. I want your support. Support me. And when I go there, be on the guard to ensure I do the right thing. If I don't do it, show me the way out.
Fantastic. My brother Peter, it's been
sir.
a wonderful time having this conversation. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very
Definitely we'll see before elections.
Yes,
we'll still do another one.
All right.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you
for coming.
My regards.